community, a very small sort of number, and mainly, I think, something like family basis. So no concept of leadership. All work together. Whatever they get, share together. Then gradually, farming system start. The population increase. And then some mischievous people started. So then concept of leadership come. At that time, no rule of education. So in order to become, or say, a leader, only physical strength. So male dominance then start. Even, I think, some religious tradition, say, that sort of society, the cultural heritage, male dominance, then some impact in even religious field. Then education develop. Education brings more equality. Now today, existing education just oriented about material value is not sufficient. Now we must make effort constantly, make known existing education field must include, some method to educate warm-heartedness, not as a religious matter, but simply, strictly secular way. According to Indian understanding, secularism is respect all religions and also respect non-believer. So that's, I think, very relevant to today's world. Now, out of 7 billion, about 1 billion non-believer. And among the believers, a lot of different sort of traditions there. So India's 1,000-year-old sort of tradition, secular, respect all religion, and also non-believer. So that way, the secular ethics can be very fit in secular education. So therefore, but now time comes, we must pay more attention about the promotion of human inner value, human love. In that respect, female should take more active role. So that's the reality. So the male dominance is outdated thinking. I think male need female, female need male. That's uncommon. Without combination, no longer human being. This is fact. We must realize or accept that reality should be equal. Use common sense.
Thank you.
His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I have a simple question. What are the possibilities of Buddhist non-violence creating a favorable environment for democracy in China?
You introduce yourself.
I am Professor Gopal Iyer from Punjab University, Chandigarh, and presently with the Institute of Social Sciences, New Delhi.
I think, you see, as Buddhist also now, I usually see telling any person, anyone who consider himself or herself as a Buddhist, then we should be 21st century Buddhist. That means Buddhist with fuller knowledge about Buddhism, Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist psychology. Many of us, many Tibetan, many Chinese Buddhists, and many others are Buddhists, say they consider themselves as a Buddhist, but they only know 3 words: Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Do not know what is Buddha, how to develop, how to become Buddha. No knowledge. No pay attention. Study. So sometimes, I mean, according to Buddhism and Jainism, Sankhyaism, one part of Sankhyaism, these three ancient Indian sort of spiritual tradition, no concept of creator, but self-creation. Buddha mentioned, you are your own master. Your future entirely depends on yourself, not on Buddha. Right? So Buddha only show the situation or the reality. Then individual, you yourself analyze, use common sense, and then improve yourself. So that's Buddhist way. So sometimes we Buddhists almost consider Buddha as a creator. So we are not making any effort or pray to Buddha, please give me happy future, happy future. Totally wrong. So therefore, now China, I think around 400 millions of Buddhists. Now the communist China, the biggest Buddhist population. So many of these Buddhists really showing interest about the Nalanda tradition. That's Tibetan Buddhism, Nalanda tradition. So Nalanda tradition pay much sort of attention, right? Study. My own case, when I start a study, my age about 7, already start to memorize those root texts wrote by Nalanda master. Then at that time, I'm no interest about this study. So I study under fear. My tutor always keep some whip. Oh, so this, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, you see, carries study under threat by my tutor. Out of fear, so I carry study. So memorize these root text. Then each word, each vocabulary, explain according commentary. Again, Nalanda masters. So usually, you see, 20, 30 years take for study. So that, I think on this planet, we Tibetan, only Tibetan still preserve the rich knowledge about Nalanda tradition. Here, 3 parts. One part, science, about human emotion, human mind. That's we consider science, not religion. It's an academic subject. So, in front of you, may I say so, the Western psychology, modern psychology, compare ancient Indian psychology, particularly Buddhist psychology, your the standard of Kazara knowledge about psychology is like kindergarten. So now many scientists, number of scientists, over 30 years, we had sort of a serious discussion, dialogue. Now many of them realize information about emotion, about mind, and the whole system of emotion. You see, the information from Nalanda tradition they found very, very useful. So in order to develop inner peace, you see, fuller knowledge about the whole system of emotion is very essential. Buddhists usually use this for next life or nirvana. But we can use these things simply how to build happy society, peaceful society. As an academic subject, not a religious subject. Then Buddhist philosophy, Madhyamika philosophy, I think you heard, the Longsu Pusa, Nagarjuna, Nagarjuna's philosophy, very much similar, the quantum physics. Nothing exists by objectively. If you investigate thoroughly, there is no independent reality. That's exactly Longsu Busa, Nagarjuna stated that. So now, this philosophical view, confirmed by quantum physicists, like that. So, quite strange. But meantime, I never state Buddhism is best religion. I never state that. The best, or I mean good or bad, have to sort of have to define where. Defined on the basis of individual. Someone or find the concept of creator is very, very powerful. So, for that person, the Christianity or the theistic religion is much more useful, much better. Then some people, you see, non-theistic sort of religion, some people find that's much more effective. So, when we judge, we cannot say this religion is best religion. But the philosophical field, yes, I can say Buddhist philosophy, particularly the Nanan tradition, very, very sophisticated. Like that. So, one lady.
Okay, one last
Now,
question.
last question now.
Last question. Thank you very much. I wanted to seize this opportunity of speaking to you. I am Shamama Albar from Pakistan, Peshawar.
Oh.
My
Peshawar.
Shamama Albar.
Then
from-
I think you should wear like that.
my one thing that most of the things my religion and my parents have been telling me never hit my head till I heard you and your sayings. You reinforced what our religion has been telling us about peace. Your way of expressing it was great. I just wanted to humbly state that. But my question is, you mentioned that we have to finish the distrust and mistrust in order to let the positive energies flow. We are facing this problem between Pakistan and India. People are very positive towards each other.
Yes.
But we do not see how can we let this positive energy, flow across. So, do you have any suggestion for us? Pakistan and
I
India.
think quite right. You see, I notice. You see, people to people, particularly you see, people on the border area. You see, their sort of economy and some other things heavily interdependent. So some cases maybe even marriage, maybe. So I think the people sort of relation is very important. And one time, I think, when Jews come, one young child in Pakistan, some illness or something, then brought to India, medical treatment. The many Indians, you see, take full care and show because of that friendship. So that I think we must go continuously. Then political leader, and including military personnel, you see, for the time being, some difficulties, I think for their own interest, sometimes, I think like former Soviet Union, you see, I think some extent now, today also now, something happened in Moscow. For their own short-term interest, you see, they deliberately create some negative other side. So here also, you see, some Indian, also you see, when they heard Pakistani, oh, I think similar in Pakistan side also. Oh?
People love each other.
Oh.
People love each other.
Oh. Then very good.
Problem solved.
I think I think majority, yes, I totally agree. But I think because of propaganda, and then sometimes, you see, human emotion. So sometimes it's too much emotion, then no room of reason. So in any way, I think people to people should have sort of closer relation continuously. That's the only way. And then wait. I think leadership side, eventually, I think will change. Will change. And then, like this kind of conference, if we invite some hardliner, and then let them express, and we can argue gently, not like this. Oh, through reason. That's the way to build trust. So as I mentioned earlier, some hardliner, these Muslim terrorists, I prefer welcome and talk. I think outside should check very thoroughly. then come inside, then talk.
I think we've all seen why His Holiness the Dalai Lama is a symbol of democracy, of universalism, and a great inspiration, not only to people in Asia, but in Africa, in the Middle East, in Russia, in Latin America, even in the kindergarten West. You are really an inspiration to us all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now it's my very, very great pleasure to call upon my good friend, the Sikyong, the elected political leader of the Central Tibetan Administration, Lobsang Sangay.
His Holiness Carl Gershwin, George, and all the dignitaries and participants and experts and activists for whole movement for democracy. It's a great privilege and honor to be here and to say a few words about the legendary George Fernandes being a true and rare friend of Tibet. Before that, I would just like to mention, because this is a conference on strengthening democracy in Asia, and I was put in a very difficult position when His Holiness mentioned that I was his political boss. As we all know, spirituality is more powerful than politics. Anyway, I have a term limit, and His Holiness is our leader for life. And also, actually, His Holiness just mentioned, in true sense of the word, His Holiness is a true democrat, because from the 5th Dalai Lama all the way to 14th Dalai Lama, all the Dalai Lamas have always been both the spiritual and political leader. And in 1959, when he came to India, he introduced democracy, and then we had our own parliamentary election in 1960. And in 1963, His Holiness felt that we need women representation in the parliament. So in 1963, we had women representation in the parliament, perhaps far ahead of even Western countries, including Switzerland, who had women representation only in 1970s. So all the way till 2001, we had democratic election. But also in 1963, a constitution was introduced in exile, because we had just lost our country and we've been in exile only for 4 years. But His Holiness introduced a constitution in which His Holiness mandated a provision which says that His Holiness the Dalai Lama could be impeached by the parliament. Now at that particular time, who would have thought of impeaching His Holiness the Dalai Lama? But His Holiness insisted that provision has to be in the constitution, because everybody has to be servant to the constitution, to the democracy, including His Holiness the Dalai Lama. there was a lot of resistance from the Tibetans, but still His Holiness insisted. And as His Holiness explained in 2001, he declared himself semi-retired and handed over major authority to the elected leader, Galun Tripa. And in 2011, when His Holiness declared that he will fully retire from politics and he's going to separate the political authority from the spiritual authority, Tibetans were very nervous, and appeals and petitions from all over the world, including a special meeting was convened, where His Holiness was appealed again and again not to devolve his political authority, but we wanted him, and still want him, to continue as both the spiritual and political authority. But His Holiness again insisted the time has come for Tibetan people to take responsibility, and he separated the spiritual authority from political authority. Now in this day and age, where you see a lot of leaders resisting from giving up their power, that caused a lot of bloodshed around the world. We see it even now. But His Holiness is one of the very rare leaders who willingly, as he says, happily and magnanimously, if I add, gave up his political authority in 2011. And he showed an example to the leaders around the world that you can devolve your political authority and let people mature and embrace democracy. And in my humble position, I'm given the political responsibility, but like me, for 6 million Tibetans around the world, His Holiness is the most revered leader even today.